Hi everyone, welcome. I'm pulling myself up over here, maybe. So how's everybody doing tonight? Thank you for hopping on. We are having a major storm. So hopefully, at the other house, I couldn't go live during a storm. So let's see what this house does, because this is a whole different company that we have internet with. So, hi Brenda, I got you pulled up here. So, let's see how long this lasts. So Melissa had asked about doing a doll dress. Hi, Kathy. And so I told her that I would come live and do a doll dress. But thank you for sprinkling. I appreciate that. We are doing the whole doll because I was planning on doing a primitive angel bunny. So I started working on it. So we're just going to do this whole thing from scratch. Well, basically from scratch. I have all the pieces made. So we're going to do a doll dress 2 different ways so that Melissa can, hi Regina. Hi Jody. Yeah, I'm here. So we're going to do a doll dress 2 different ways. Now on Telegram, I posted a little while ago this doll dress. So I'm not sure how big she said a small. So this, hi Donna. So this is what did I say it was? Like a 16 to a 20-inch doll, this would do. Now you can make it smaller just by not making it as long. You can also make this pattern long sleeve by adding, if your doll is 16 to 20 inches, adding another 4 inches to the sleeve. So I hope everybody's had a good day. I'm exhausted. We went grocery shopping today, and I don't know why, but that always wears me out when we do a lot of grocery shopping. I can do any other kind of shopping. It doesn't tire me out, but grocery shopping, which I don't like doing, wears me out. So if you need a little doll dress, this is the one I posted. Now it's cut on a fold, and this is it. It's very, very, very simple. I try not to do anything too complicated on here because I know Jody's brain stops, she says, when I start giving you a whole lot of measurements. So if you want this, let me get an arm here. Long sleeve, just add another 4 inches to the length. Now, when you put this over your doll's head, the neckline's going to be too big and the sleeves are going to be baggy. All you do is do a running stitch completely around the neckline. Pull it once you get it on your doll and tie it. Same way with the sleeve. Now, if you're just doing a primitive doll, you don't need to do anything else to that but just gather it. Maybe put a scarf around its neck. But if you're doing a little more dressier doll, you can add, once you pull it tight around the neck, you can add lace around the arms and the sleeves. I know, it's a lot of work. And then we've been looking for a butcher shop here, and we found one, so we went and got meat, and then we went and did the rest of the grocery shopping. So we did it twice today, so that's just too much for me. So if you can add lace around the hem, around the end of the sleeves, and around the neckline if you want to make it a little bit fancier dress. But this is a primitive dress. So if you're making a primitive doll, a small one, there's your pattern. But we're going to do a dress another way, and the other way you do it is before you put your arms, your legs on. And then somebody, and I'm sorry, I do not remember who, asked me how to sew in the legs. Arms and legs. So you do the arms and legs. That's why this is armless and legless. You do the arms and the legs exactly the same way by leaving an opening at the bottom for the legs and on the shoulder for an arm. So we're going to do pantaloons, we're going to do sleeves and a dress, and we're going to do it all before we attach any of the body parts. So if you are really, really new to sewing and you don't want to make, oh, Mona is sweet. I liked her. Yes. Measurements. So if you're really, really new and you got the doll part down, but the clothes is what's giving you a problem. And I've had many of you tell me you can't do the clothes, so you're not doing, you agree? So you're not going to make dolls because you can't do the clothes. I'm going to show you a very easy way that you can do, yeah, Donna, I liked her, that you can do, put sleeves on, you can do the whole dress, you can even do pantaloons without all these pattern pieces and measurements and all this stuff. So I got the doll done. So if you're putting the legs on or the arms on, they're very simple. Now, this is the leg, totally done. Way I like to put the legs on is open my opening. This is where you stuff it, and match the front and back seam. So when you put your legs on, the foot is actually facing forward. If you put them on this way, where's the other leg? Then your feet are going to be facing either in or out. So you know your feet face forward, right? So if you look at your body, your feet are facing forward. So I like to match up the front and the back seam, and that keeps your foot forward. So all you do is you put it inside, push your stuffing down, and you do the same with the arm. Now when you're doing the arm, if your arm has a thumb, you want the thumb to be facing the body. So if you put your hand down to your side, your thumb is on the inside of your body. So you want your thumb on the inside, just touching the body, okay? And you put the arms and legs in the same way. You just put it in the opening that you left, and if you're following a pattern, it should say, leave it open, right? Put it in, and I pin them to keep them in there. Let's say I lost the foot already. So all I do is I open it up, match my front and my back seam. Now when you put these on, make sure your feet are facing the same way, because I have done this and put the foot backwards. So then you got to take it back out, and you don't want to pull that seam ripper out. Hi, Julie. Draw cut so brave. Hi, Melissa. That's right, pigeon toes. You don't want that. So then I always leave a little space between the legs and then put the other one in. And I pin it too. And then you just sew straight across. Same way with the arm. Make sure your arm is going, the thumb, if you don't have a rounded hand. If it's rounded, it doesn't matter. Oh, thank you, Julie. So if you just have a rounded hand, it doesn't matter which way you put it. But if it has a thumb, like this one, you'll want it in. Now this one is just stitched on, but if it's sewn in, just stick it in your opening and sew it. But we're not doing that because we're going to dress this doll before we put it together. So I don't know who asked me that, and I apologize. I'm no longer working, and that note is at work. Now I didn't get this other ear done. I thought I had it all sewn together. So I don't stuff ears, but on this one I am using a real thin quilt batting. I think if you stuff ears, it makes them too full. You know, they don't seem to lay right. I gotta stitch this one up so we can get this bunny completed tonight. So then I'm also doing a muzzle because this is a doll pattern that I'm making a bunny. So I just cut 2 ovals that will coordinate with the face. And then I have 2 layers of the quilt batting that I'm putting on the inside. And this one, it doesn't call for turning it right side out. So this is a very, very simple, easy sew pattern. Oh, thanks, Julie. Yes, I know. I was watching her. Yeah, she took Jody's challenge. So this one is all raw edges. So when I do raw edges, I always do a pinking shear. You don't have to do that. So this is the bunny's mouth. So arms and legs. How are we dressing this doll before we put it together? I just have some fabric here. This is a fat quarter. So if you're new to sewing and you don't have fabric, go buy fat quarters to get started, because that's the fastest way to get fabric. So this is just a fat quarter. And a fat quarter is a 1/4 yard of fabric. Take your leg and you want, now I like bloomers to be bigger, a lot bigger. So we're taking this and we're going to fold it in half, and we're putting our leg on there. See that this is double the width of the leg. The leg is already stuffed. This is like 3/4 stuffed. So I'm taking the foot and I'm moving it just where the ankle is off my fabric. Can you see that? Would it be better if I put you down here? Let's bring you down here. Okay. That gets you really up close. So I put my leg. Now this is double the fabric. It's on a fold, the width of my leg. I'm moving the foot just where the ankle is, off the fabric. Can you see that? And that's where I'm cutting my fabric. This is going to be 1 pant leg. Hi, Deborah. Now you can cut or you can rip it. So we don't need the length, only about 1 inch longer than where the ankle to the top of the leg is. So that's where I'm cutting it, just about 1 inch higher. And we're going to do 2 like this. So I'm just taking the one we already did, laying it on top, and cutting a second one exactly the same. And this fabric needs ironed. I didn't think about ironing it ahead of time. Now see, when you're cutting your fabrics and you're making things, you always end up with strips. Get a little shoebox or a basket or something and throw your strips in it, because these are your rag bows. Now these 2 pieces, I have a basket that I keep anything under 1/4 yard in. So that's where, if I don't use these tonight, that's where these will go. So I've had tons of questions how I do this. Now at this point, You can fold these in half and you can glue them, but I'm sewing them. So let's move this off. And we're going to sew just right where the open edges is, the length. We're sewing both of them. Whoops, it helps if the sewing machine's turned on. It works better. Oh, hi, Deborah. I always iron my fabric, and I forgot to do it this time. It makes your finished item look nicer. So just a straight stitch, 1/4 inch seam. And always back stitch. So we are going to iron this before we finish it. I always iron. Some people, they don't, but that's the way I was taught. I was taught to sew by a very strict home ec teacher, and you did it her way or you failed. So just a straight stitch, the whole length. And we're going to do both of those. Now, these pantaloons do not have a part on them that goes up over the behind. These are just the legs, but you're going to have a dress on, so you're not going to see it. So this is like if you're very new and you want to dress your dolls. And I went way off there. It helps if you match your edges up before you start to sew. So those of you that missed the last 2 videos I did, for some reason they've been taken down. I'm going to redo them, but I'm going to go live on YouTube and do those. Hi, Fran. Hi, Sharon. If I've missed any of you, I apologize. So yeah, we are going to iron. I have all my scissors and things sitting over here. We're going to turn this iron on and get it hot. So we have our 2 legs. And we're going to turn them right side. So since this is going to be a bunny, I decided to do her all in orange. Now, when I make dolls to sew, I make a full pantaloon. But this is for absolute new beginners. So we're going to take, I'm looking for my thread. I just got it out. It doesn't matter how prepared I am. I misplace something every time. So I just have double thread. It's knotted. So let's iron these before we go any further. And I'm just pressing them just to make sure all the wrinkles are out. And I'm making sure the seam that we just sewed is in the middle. This is going to be the back of the leg. Take your needle and thread, do a running stitch all around the top. And you want a tail at the beginning and the end of your thread. See how I have a tail? And we're going to cut this, and we're going to do the same thing to the other one. So we're going to do a dress without a pattern. Very simple. We're doing sleeves without a pattern. And this is the pantaloons. I don't know why I didn't show this before. I don't do dolls this way. But for those of you that are brand new and you're having problems with doll clothes. Hi, Jennifer. So I'm turning this so that this seam is in the back. And I'm doing a running stitch all the way around, leaving a tail at beginning and end. And I'm getting close to the top of the fabric. You'll see why in a moment. We're going to take our leg, put it in. Oh, we need to do a running stitch around the bottom also. But that one I'm using embroidery floss because it's going to be seen. Now the embroidery floss, I'm starting in the front of the leg. So here's your back seam. I'm starting in the front of the leg. So here's the other one. Making sure the seam, the back seam is in the middle on the back, and I'm starting on the front. And just very simple. It doesn't have to be measured out. It doesn't have to be the same distance between one stitch and another because it's not going to be seen when we gather this. You will not be able to tell. Okay, now let's put a leg in. Oh, the leg's in. I thought I pulled it out. So you want to make sure so here's our leg. We're putting it in. And right at the foot, I'm going to gather this and pull it and tie it off in a knot. And I know you're all are wondering, what the heck is she making here? These are your pants, your pantaloons. I tied it off tight around the ankle, and I'm just trimming this, just leave a little bit of a tail. Now the top is gathered in the back. And I'm pulling, see the leg is down in here. So I'm pulling my leg to meet the top. So I'm lining this up. Here's my leg, and there's the top. But you see, these are blousey. That's the way I like pants or pantaloons. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pin, and I'm going to hold it, put it in to hold the leg even with the back. See how that is? I'm taking these gathering threads and I'm pulling them. And I'm pulling them tight. You see how tight that is? And knotting this off. Now I'm going to knot this twice. And I'm leaving that pin in for now. And I'm clipping that. So that's what we have. See how blousey it is? That's the way I like them. And we're going to do the same thing to the other leg. So I like to leave tails a little longer because when you're messing around with this, you can pull those running stitches out and then you got to do it again. And I hate doing that. So I'm just making sure that that seam is on the back of the leg and I'm putting the leg inside. Let's see, I'm almost losing that one. Now, once you get this knotted, if it's not right in the front, you can move the leg around on the inside, like that one. So just pull it around. Oh, it's going out of camera. I am so sorry. That's the one. So see how that is? Now you can just mess with the gathers to get it all even around. And I'm going to pull the leg up. Making sure that seam is on the back. And I'm going to pin this in there. That just holds it together. So let's pull this tight. See, there's no opening there. It's really tight. It's hard to see when the camera's in front of me. And I'm just clipping that. Now the straight pins are still there. It's holding your leg and the top of your pants together on both of those. Can you see that? We're going to take our body and I'm going to put a long needle. This is really heavy duty thread. I'm going to get a longer needle. So when you start doing dolls, you start getting all sizes of needles. Because I have up to a 5-inch needle. You just need a doll needle that's long enough to go through your leg into your body so that you can attach these. So this is like a 3-inch needle. And I don't have any knots in this. So I'm making sure my foot is going forward. Oops, we didn't stitch that up. On this one, the legs are not sewn in. They're on this side. So let me run this under the machine to stitch up that opening. Now the legs could be sewn on the front. It depends on the look you want to go for. Let me stitch this up and I'll show you. Thanks, Deborah. So when you have a doll that's stuffed and you're running it under the machine, you have to kind of flatten this out to get the needle to go across it and under that presser foot. So I'm pressing down on her. Let's get you up here. See, I'm pressing down on the fiber fill to flatten this out to get the needle to go across. Back stitch. And I'm also slowing my speed down. Now, if you have a presser foot, you can just adjust the speed by how hard you're pressing on that. See how I'm pressing it down as I go along? And back stitch. Okay. So if you want to do a doll this way, there's make sure your legs are forward. Our pin is still in. Now you can sew them directly on the front or you can sew them on the side. This one I'm putting on the side. So I'm going in one side of my doll with my needle and my heavy duty thread. and I'm coming out the other side. So I have a tail on both sides, one with the needle, making sure my foot is still forward, and I'm going straight through the fabric, through the leg, and out the other side. That's why the pin is in there to hold all of this together, so we don't lose any of it. You don't want to do this and then your leg fall down inside the pant. So I'm going completely through it and then going right straight back through it. Coming out just about where I went in. Back through the body, just about where I came out. Going in this side. Coming out just about where we went in. And we're going to pull this. Hi, Mom. Yep, long needles. I have a 5-inch one for when I do the big, I have a life-size doll that I've done, and when I do fur coat bears. So I'm going back in. I came out here. I'm going back in there. Coming out the other side. And then I'm pulling this really tight. I'm going back in this leg. The pant leg, not the doll. See how I did that? And I'm taking my needle off. I can't find the tail. So I have the tail where we initially started with and the tail of the thread. And I'm going to tie these off and pull them tight. Now you don't want to pull it so tight it squeezes like that. You just want to pull it tight enough to where this stays. And if you're using heavy duty, it's carpet thread, button thread, wax thread. Those are all the names for it. This is not going to come loose, and you want to tie it in a knot. And our doll has pantaloons. Like I said, it doesn't come up over the waist. Now, if you want it to go over the waist, when you're sewing your doll body, you can put a rectangle here. And then it'll look like you have full pantaloons on. But this dress is not going to show. So now we'll take our straight pins out. Because our needle went through the material, through the leg, through the body, and out the other side. So there you go. This is something that I don't know if I think I showed it on my other page. This is a thing that you pick up bingo tokens or whatever they're called. This is great for straight pins because, you know, if you use straight pins, they're going to end up on the floor. Watch that. Picks them straight up. So this went through the fire at the store. So this is why this is open. It's ancient. But look at that. If you got pins. So this is one of those bingo chip things that you pick them up with. So I think these are like really cheap. So if you see one of these or you're going to order one from Amazon, they're really nice to have. Because, you know, if you're like me and your hands don't work, you drop pins everywhere. So we're going to do our arms. Now we're going to do the sleeves exactly the same way we did our pants. So we're going to get a fabric. The same as her dress. So this is her dress. I should have had this cut down because this is like 10 yards. Okay, we're going to do our sleeves. Now this is very sheer. The sleeves are going to be sheer, but the dress I'm going to put white fabric on the inside because we don't want to see her body. But the sleeves is okay if we see the sleeve or the arm. So let me unroll some of this. I don't know where I got this. It's a dotted Swiss type of fabric, but it's very sheer. This is what we're doing our sleeves out of. So we're taking our arm, folding our fabric in half, just like we did. And I'm going and moving the arm down to just about where the wrist is off the fabric. Hi, Wanda. Yeah, bingo chip picker-upper thing. And I'm going an inch above the length of the arm. So I'm off here at the wrist, and I'm going an inch above. Now this fabric does not rip. I'm not sure what kind of fabric this is, but, and I don't know where I got it from. I've had it forever. So we cut both of our sleeves at one time. Let's move this. And we're doing the same thing. Oh, that needs to be a little even. I'm looking for a front and a back. Okay, that's the front. So this is kind of slippery. I am going to pin. So our bunny angel is all in orange. Now the other one I grunged. This one I didn't grunge, but you can definitely grunge it. And my needle came unthreaded, of course. So I had another question that I actually was going to talk about when we start doing our quilt squares. Now, I am not a traditional quilter. I do not quilt the way everybody else does. We are going to be doing very, very simple, very easy beginner, because that's what I am in quilting. How to chain stitch. So chain stitch is where you stop on one, and before you take it out, you start your next one. That's what a chain stitch is. And I don't remember who asked me that one either. So I didn't stop. I did back stitch. And I'm butting this one right up to that one. And they're going to continue to sew. Why did that come undone again? Because did I cut that? I don't remember. Who's calling? They know better to call when I'm live. Oh, okay. I have to go finish watching, Sheila. So if you chain stitch, when you go to your second piece of fabric, you want to back stitch when you start that one too. Just like you do regular sewing, back stitch beginning and end of every piece. But that's what chain stitching is. So if you're doing a whole bunch of these, just keep feeding them through. And then you can cut them at the end. So we started doing quilt squares, I think, last year. Oh, she's going to finish tomorrow? Yeah, she said that you challenged her, Jody. Let's get that pin out. The reason I had someone ask, and I didn't see it on when I was doing a video. The reason I squeeze whatever I'm making is to make sure that I have all the straight pins out, because I would hate for someone to get stabbed. I would rather get stabbed than somebody else. Isn't that pretty? I would rather get stabbed than somebody else. So, okay. That's why I squeeze everything that I make. Especially if you are using a bunch of straight pins, it's very easy for one to get lost in a seam, or if you're using like a faux fur or a fuzzy type fabric, it's easy to lose. Depends on who it is. Oh, that's nice, Julie. Boy, you are just on it. I don't know what I'm doing here this year. Since this isn't our house, I don't want to put a whole bunch of stuff in the ground, like plants. So I don't know what we're doing. Same here. Only on this one, I'm using the white thread on top and bottom, maybe. Now you can, if you're doing the sleeve, you can also do this with a very thin ribbon, which I didn't grab any. So you can do this with a really thin ribbon and do this running stitch around. So we got the one part. And let's do the other. Oh, you got your Sweet Annie seeds? I didn't get mine yet. It depends on who it is. Well, if you want, you know. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to take the straight pin out. You can play dumb, I guess. Trying to find the other end of my thread. To tie a knot, wrap it around your finger, hold it with your thread or your thumb. Completely around. See that? Completely around. And then just take your thread, roll it together, and it'll twist, and then you can pull it. You have a knot. I think I've shown that one before. You can get the Sweet Annie seeds off of Etsy. That's where I got mine, or I ordered mine. I'm watching my phone over here, and it looks like I'm off camera, but when I look down at the one around my neck, I'm on camera. I'm throwing myself off. So this is the thumb. This is the part that goes next to the body. I want this back seam in the back of the arm. So I'm going to slide the arm down inside. This is exactly the same way as the leg. I'm pulling it up to right about where I want it to be gathered. And I'm going to pull this really tight. And I'm going to double knot it. Now at this point you can put lace around this to cover this gather stitch up, but you really don't see it. You can also take a strip of fabric and wrap around is what I'm going to do. Now we're going to pull this down, pin the arm, the middle of the arm right with the back seam. And I like to use straight pins that have heads on them, colored heads like this, because they're easier to see in your fabric. Bend it to the back, grab your threads, pull it really tight, no opening, pull it that tight. And pull your pin out. Now I'm sticking this pin back in until I get this sewn onto the body. But see, now you have a blousey sleeve. Now you can make it as blousey as you want by making it wider. Yeah, I can look that up and put a post on here. But I just looked up Sweet Annie seeds, and there's a couple of them that popped up. So there's that. So this is from the leg, so that we have the same fabric going throughout the dress. Just a strip, and tie it around the wrist. And I'm just tying this in a knot. I'm just since this fabric's not printed on both sides, I'm making sure that the printed side is what's up. So I'm messing with it here. And I'm just knotting this. Well, I have grown it. Last year, I think the ducks messed with it because they were constantly messing or picking into I had them great big pots. So I think they did something to my seeds or ate my seeds because I didn't get Sweet Annie. But I just grow it just like I do any other seed. I put it right in the soil and just keep it watered. So there's that one. I don't know if there's any special thing you're supposed to do. In the beginning, when I first planted them, I used Miracle-Gro on them. Hi, Kay. So I'm getting extra long threads, so I don't have to do this each and every time. That's all I did, and it grew the 1 year for me. But last year, the critters got to it. So I'm just doing the running stitch. I just watched it. When the soil started getting dry, I poked my finger in it. If it felt dry, I watered it. But I'm sure if there's, you can look that up if there's a special way of growing it. Hi, Dorothy. We're doing a very simple doll dress that doesn't take a whole bunch of sewing. It's just tubes. We've done the pants. Now we're doing the arms or the sleeves. So when I do dolls to sell, I do set-in sleeves and a bodice, all that. But I know that I lose a bunch of you when I do that, because I've done it on my other page. I had another page that I lost. Someone took it from me. I would hurry as soon as I saw people saw that I was doing set-in sleeves and all of that. They're not hard to do. It just takes time. I would start seeing my numbers drop. So I quit doing complicated things on here. But if you want to know how to do them, I will show you. Get our other sleeve. Poke our arm in there. Now making sure the middle of the arm, the opening, is on that back seam. I know you still all are wondering, how is this going to look when it's done? And when it's done, you will not be able to tell that these are just tubes that we put together. See, I'm pulling that really, really tight at the top of the arm. So we have, whoops, we need to do the wrist, don't we? So you can do this with a shorter sleeve if you want like a 3/4 length sleeve. You can do this very same thing with. If you all hear shooting, my husband's out there playing a game. The living room is right outside this door. So no, there's no actual shooting going on here. I'm just fixing the gathers. See how blousy the sleeve is? So she's going to be a lady in orange. He was playing a game one time, and I had all these questions about what all the noise was in the background, asking me if I was okay. And I'm like, why is everyone asking me if I'm okay? Then I realized when I did a playback that it was my husband's game. Because on my other page, I used to do lives in the dining room. So there we go. Let me flip this around. We'll pull this knot around to this side of the arm, because I want the knot on the front of the arm. So there we go. So there's the arms. They're dressed. There's the legs. They're dressed. We're going to put the arms on this little girl. Let's do her dress. I'm getting all these little pieces of thread off of here because they were confusing me the last time. So let's get some more. I'm going to use heavier duty thread for her neck. This is a gum container. I put my spool in it, and I made a hot, got a nail hot and just poked a hole in it. This is perfect, because then the spool doesn't go rolling off on my table. So we don't need such a long needle, but I need the big eye, because this is thick thread. So we're going to make her dress. So we need to measure her. Now this, if you want to do this dress, and this is on Telegram, this is how you measure your doll. Any doll, to get your dress right. You go from the neck. How long do you want it? Where's her knee? Her knee's about right there. So I'm going a little above, so we want 8 inch in length. You like those colors? So we're going from her neck, and I'm just a little bit above her neck. You see that? See, right here's her neck. I'm just a little bit above it. And I'm going down to 8 inches. Because you want to cover this up because if you sit her down, you don't want her dress to be so short that someone sees that she doesn't have, you know, this part of her covered. So I'm going a little bit above her neck, and I'm going 8 inch. So we need 8 inches. So how wide do we want this? Let me grab another ruler, the flexible one. I like the dresses to be really full. So you want to measure the widest part of your doll, which is here. Now this is not tight. This is loose. So I'm saying 13. So I want it wider. So I'm going to do a 26 wide by 8 long. And that's always wrapped around my neck. 26 by 8. So let's get our fabric that fell on the floor. Y'all are getting a big view of my room that's not put together yet. Okay. Is this an opening? That's not a fold. Let's get it at the end. And I'm picking up straight pins as I'm flipping this fabric around. Where's an end? That's a fold. How many folds does this have? I think I'm rolling my chairs on it. There we go. It's like, what? What's going on? Okay. So I'm matching up the ends of my fabric, so I can cut this one strip. Now you can do this with a rotary cutter, and you can do it with a ruler. But so I don't have to get out of this chair and walk around this room and grab all that stuff. We're just going to cut it. So I'm matching all those ends up, and I'm going 8 inches down. And I'm just making a little mark. Couple places all the way across. And cutting it. Now this is not a hemmed dress. Now if you want it hemmed, you can hem it after you get it cut. So we need 26 in width. So this is 20, my ruler on my table. That's pretty good, that strip. So this is our dress. So it's folded in half. And I am making a slit about 2 inches on the fold. This is the folded side. And I'm making a slit about 2 inches. Geez, we're already at an hour. And I'm not measuring it. I'm just making a slit because we can make it wider, but we can't make it smaller. So we're just going to, where the 2 ends are, we're just going to make a seam. Making sure I got the right side of the fabric. Okay. I can't tell this fabric what side that's the right side. So I'm wrong side or right sides together, and I'm just making a seam. So we're going to have to finish this doll on another video. But at least you can see how to do a doll dress without having to do all that sewing. Now, if you have a doll that the head you sew on separately, and not like this, because this is a very, very basic doll. This pattern is actually on Telegram. We're going to do a running stitch all the way around the top. Fold this the right side and do a stitch all the way. Now where this seam is, I'm going to make another little 2-inch slit right along that seam. The reason I didn't leave this open is because once you put the sleeves on, you can see this extra fabric that's not sewn. But if you make a slit right beside where that seam is, it is better. Now we might have to make those a little bigger, but we'll find out in a moment. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jody. I've missed it. So here's our opening, arm opening, and here's our arm opening. I'm starting in the middle, right where the front would be at her neck. And I'm just doing a running stitch. Now, if you're doing a doll that the head is on sewn on separately, when you do the body, do this, put it on, and then sew the head on. So this gather would be right underneath of the head. But we're doing a very, very simple doll. We're going to have to make this arm opening a little bit bigger, I think. Actually, we wouldn't have to do an arm opening. We can just sew this right on and sew the sleeve right on over top. I appreciate you all so much. You don't know that. You don't know how much I appreciate you. And my hand's cramping. I was telling Tony the other night, I said, this move, because we moved 3 times in like less than 3 weeks. And if y'all don't know that story, it was a nightmare in December. So I'm pulling this till I have a nice tail there, and I'm leaving it like that. It affected me so bad with this fibromyalgia that I'm still suffering from it, even though we've been here a couple months now. So I'm all the way back at the beginning. Just a plain basic running stitch. So there's my tail. We're going to slip her inside. Now, like I said, if you have a head that's on separately, you put this on the body, then you put your head on. Just pull this tight. Let's say I lost my scissors. We were supposed to line that. We didn't. For the next video, it'll be lined. So I'm just gathering the stitches because we don't want to see her body through here. But then all you do is you attach your arms. And I'm just pinning them. Just like we did the legs. You want to make sure that your thumb is next to your body. And she's dressed without all that sewing. So we're going to finish her up on another video. I'll try and come tomorrow live, but I will have her dress lined. But lining it is the same thing. It's the same size fabric, but look, you have a doll dressed and you didn't do a ton of sewing. Thank you. So if you want to do a really quick, fast, and you can do this really fast. I drug it out because I wanted you to see all the steps. But when I line this, it's the very same fabric. I'm just using a white fabric underneath so that you can't see her body. So you just sew 2 of them together. Thank you. Thank you, Melissa. So, Melissa, this is on my Telegram. If you can't get it off my Telegram, because somebody did message me and ask how to get it off the Telegram. When you pull up my Telegram page, there's 3 dots. You click on that. You download it to your photos and then print it from your photos. If you have a problem doing that, let me know and I can send this to you directly. Oh, I hope that y'all can follow. Thank you, Jody. Thanks, Julie. So see, Donna, you can do pantaloons, you can do sleeves, you can do a dress, and all it is tubes. That's all it is. Now, when we come back, I will have another doll cut out, and I will show you how to do, if you want to cover up this part of her body to make it look like her pantaloons goes all the way up. We will do that. Thank you. Thanks, Kay. So we are going to finish her because she's going to be a bunny angel, because this is an angel doll. So I just thought, well, I'll just do the wings and we'll do those on her too. So God bless you all. Thank you, Kathy. I'll make a post when I can go live tomorrow, because I don't know what we're doing tomorrow. Tony's off, so God bless you all. Have a great night. If you can't get the pattern, let me know and I'll message it to you. Have a great night, everybody.